Hey y'all, good morning. I'm Jamie Welch, and today I'm going to talk about the two chapters that I read in my book, More Lessons Learned from Research, and this is volume 2. So I moved on to the second section of this book, section 2, which is on teaching and learning arithmetic, algebraic reasoning, and calculus. And so I chose chapters 9. Chapter 9 is a chapter about the multiplication methods in the context of the Common Core standards. And so I'll tell you all a little background of why I chose this research to read. My daughter's in 5th grade, and she I noticed one of the methods that she uses for multiplying when I was helping her with volume I think we were doing volumes of rectangular prisms a few weeks back. And when she would have, say 16 times 4, she wouldn't set it up how I would as just 16 times the 4 at the bottom and multiply 4 by each digit. She would write 16 4 times and add her ones column, carry anything that needed to be carried over, and then add her tens column. And I thought that was really interesting. And she just insisted that that was the method that she was going to use, even though I'm thinking I've got such a quicker way. So I wanted to read this research with that in mind of, okay, do I need to go home and insist that my daughter multiplies a certain way? And the research kind of eased my mind. It focused on essentially, okay, do we need to say we want kids to memorize their multiplication facts, or and just memorize them? Like, I remember when I was in 3rd grade, you had to sit with the teacher and just spit them out, each number. In this chapter, though, we're told that we actually need to develop students' understandings and patterns of numbers. We want them to see that. We want them to understand multiplication as that repeated addition, like my daughter showed me. And especially in 3rd grade, because that's where they're going to be introduced to it, develop that understanding in 3rd grade. But that understanding and that that method is going to lead to proficiency. Now, I should say this research was related to single-digit multiplication. So, essentially we would want a kid by the end of 3rd grade to just know 6 times 4 is 24 and not have to add out, the 6 4 times or whatever. So I found it really interesting that we need to develop that, in 3rd grade. The focus was on, yes, teaching kids multiplication, showing them, and it actually, let me pull up my summary so I can tell you guys the progression of strategies. First, they'll do a count all, where they would actually, it's kind of made me think of kind of like the array, where they would actually count each section, each group. Then additive calculation, where they use repeated addition. That's kind of what my daughter's doing. Then count by, where they would say, okay, 5 times 3 is 5, 10, 15. And then pattern based, which would be recognizing the patterns in the multiplication table to recall the facts quickly. And then learn products, and that's where that's where we want them to get, where they know those products. And then the last would be hybrid strategies, where they combine several approaches and flexibility depending on the problem. And so while I see my daughter using the additive calculation, I believe she truly does know her multiplication facts. She's just saying, okay, if I've got a 2-digit number, the additive calculation works best, for her in her mind. And so maybe she is there at hybrid strategies, combining several approaches flexibly depending on the problem. So it did kind of, ease my mind there a little bit. Okay, let me move on to chapter 12. So chapter 12, I chose, the title says the equal sign does matter, and I chose that because I teach algebra, and I can't tell you how many times kids will just be solving an equation and leave out an equal sign, or they move a term and lose the equal sign somewhere, put the equal sign behind the term when it is insane to me, some of the things that you'll see happen with the equal sign. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that mattered. I cannot tell you how many times I hear that. Oh, I didn't know the equal sign mattered. So I said, oh, yes, I have to read this one. And so these authors emphasize the importance of understanding the equal sign as a foundation for developing algebraic reasoning. Yes. And they say that, so they looked at 3rd through 5th grade and 6th through 8th grade, and they revealed that even well into middle school, students are still lacking the relational understanding. They they see the equal sign and they know it's an equation that they have to solve, so they just start doing the steps, the inverse operations and solving, but they don't see that it's really giving a relationship. So they give teachers some suggestions that they need to expose students to the equal sign in a variety of equation formats. So equations that include operations on both sides. And then also, like, they're not saying, okay, we need to have a whole lesson on what the equal sign is and what it means, but take the time to highlight its meaning. Take the time to talk about this means that this and this are equivalent. It's not just oh, 3 equals 3, you know, that it's actually showing a relationship between two things. So I've really enjoyed both chapters, and I'll see y'all later. Thank you.